Recorded live from Orlando, Florida and Nashville, Tennessee, you're listening to The Dapper Danielle Show, starring Ian Wilson, Clarence Kelly. And now, here's your host, the one and only, The Dapper Danielle.
Danielle, this is like the most anti. This is the most.
I didn't have my thing on.
We're laughing at you.
Yeah, this is the most anti ASMR episode we have ever recorded.
Oh, I didn't know we were recording already. I just went to go get my water bottle real quick.
I started. That's funny. It makes it funnier.
No, but then I'm walking on screen. You can see my little top looks nice, and I look all done up. But I was like, no, I'm wearing comfy pants today. I'm wearing my orange, my little orange sliced pajama pants.
I didn't even notice your pants. So.
Oh, because it does match nicely with the orange
I was too
Halloween
distracted by you
top.
shaking a bottle aggressively walking in the screen. And
Literally,
how loud it was.
I think that it would have been quieter if you had hired the guys from the beginning of Frozen to chop ice out of a lake and ship it via horse-drawn sled to your house.
You know, they reached out to me and they wanted my water bottle noise originally for the Frozen opening scene, and they said it was actually too noisy and it would have broken the surround sound. So, like... I'm trying to just mix in my little caffeine packet in here in my little water bottle. Hold on. Okay. I'm ready.
Ready to welcome people to the show?
Yeah, I guess I'm ready to welcome people to the show.
Let's just jump into this. Let's get started, I think.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Dapper Danielle Show. I am your host, the Dapper Danielle, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, Clarence Kelly and Ian Wilsons, my brothers up in Nashville, Tennessee. And guys, I'm very excited for this episode. This is going to be our spooky-themed episode. We'll be talking about all themes, well, in the ghostly realm, I guess we could say, correct? And definitely. I like...
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good, you're good. What are you saying?
We're really covering everything this month. Like, if you're looking at the prices for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party and you're like, just a little too expensive, like, this month of episodes from the Dapper Danielle Show will just cover it all. We got, like, the Headless Horseman. We're doing ghost stories now. We're just really touching on everything of the Disney Halloween season here in these episodes.
Right,
so
but for copyright reasons, I can't include the Boo to You soundtrack, so that's the only downside to all this.
We can just perform our own soundtrack. We come up with a Dapper Danielle themed Halloween song.
Clarence, can you work on that?
Oh my gosh, sure.
Like, guys, the struggle with having no, but like at the same time, like having like a spooky intro, kind of like, I don't know, that would be so cool. Or even like just like maybe just a sign off song or something like that of just like a I don't know what it would be.
Do it on like the keyboard, make like the classic little like wee wee wee, but like do the Dapper Danielle theme with the keyboard, like kind of, you know.
Yeah, I could do something like that. I mean, what's the instrument where you wave your arms? It's like a little. It's all like radio waves.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I have no idea what the name of it is called.
Gosh,
yeah, that's your job, Clarence.
Drive me nuts. It's not a harmonium. It is a.
But y'all, this is the great thing about having really creative siblings, that you can say, "Hey, can you do this?" Or a theremin. Oh, that'd be cute. You know, yes.
I don't have a theremin. I don't have access to one, but that would be awesome.
Clarence, if anybody would, it would be you though. Like, you know, somebody
wants to send me a theremin, I will gladly take it.
So I was saying though,
dapperdanielle.com. Please send us. Let me know if you have one you want to send to me. I will take it.
Or if you can just do a really good like verbal one. If we could just like, you know, tell
just
you
put
what
some
tone
reverb
to
on it. Yeah.
Yeah. Call us.
Okay. Perfect.
So, but I was saying it's great to have siblings that are very creative in these realms, because then I don't have to type into Chat GBT or AI. I just go, Clarence, you want to make something for me, please? which is amazing. Yes.
Sure.
I don't know. Well, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Maybe we'll put a pin in that for next season. And we'll have some other cute little jingle things pop up for later. You know, we can add it. It could be a random extra download on the Dapper Danielle show side of the Spotify or something like that. I don't know.
Sure. Or something, or a Patreon exclusive.
Oh, a Patreon exclusive too.
We can make something happen. Maybe I'll play around with that a little bit. I'm going to be on the plane here tomorrow, so maybe I'll have some time to bust out some jingle things on the iPad.
We're all three of us are going to be flying all over the place here very, very soon. Clarence is going to be flying off to New Mexico, right?
Yeah, I'm going to the balloon fiesta.
Ooh.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah. And then Ian's heading up to Alaska here very soon for a wedding. And then I'll probably be going to Tennessee at some point and a little bit everywhere else in between. We'll be going to New York here too come November. So some really great fun things to be talking about here very, very soon. And I don't want to spoil it too much. And I might actually have some more announcements come Thanksgiving time for us to share maybe next episode. I'll save that until the next one.
Once we get more to the November themed
to the
things
birds,
as opposed to the October themed things. But speaking of October themed things and kind of transitioning to our news segment here, I thought, we talked last episode about the Headless Horseman, one of the iconic Disney kind of characters that appears during this time of year. And we're seeing, I think, with the villains as well, too, some very good live entertainment at Disney these days. And it just kind of got me thinking, reminiscing on other versions of live entertainment that have showed up during the holiday seasons. And I think about sort of the I don't want to call it a fiasco, but the guest interactions with Tally the Elf last year. Very famous elf, one of the most famous of Santa's elves now here in recent memory. And yeah, it just kind of got me thinking, I guess, about how with, these new characters, you have like Hades, you have Syndrome and stuff, very funny interactions with guests and guests recording that and posting it. And in some ways, I think getting pretty good at sort of tracking like, oh yeah, this performance was really good by Hades, like, and then maybe even like tracking down the person and kind of starting to try to follow them and kind of promote that out on social media. And it got me kind of thinking about how it's interesting. I guess you see like with some Disney characters, there's this like, yes, this is me. I perform this character at Disney World. Come see me. Shout out my hashtag and like, I'm going to love it. We'll talk about it later, kind of whatever. Then you have other characters like Tally the Elf where it's like, yeah, you're just not random, but you're just a cast member kind of. You're not this like, performer that's being hired by Disney. And so I thought that'd be kind of an interesting, I guess, just conversation topic. Because to me, it's always fascinating how it's like, you have this idea of staying on stage at Disney and you don't want to break character. For a lot of these characters, it's, especially for the cast member ones, the non equity performers. Danielle, maybe you can go into kind of the difference between equity and a non-equity performer, but just wrapping up this thought of how, the just regular Joe cast members, they can be fired if they break character. If a manager or someone's walking to the park, one of their area managers or something, and sees them interacting with a guest in a way that is out of character for that area, for their specific character, they can totally just be let go from the company. It's like, well, you broke character. You shared that you kind of broke the magic and shared that you are Tally the Elf and you live in Fargo, Minnesota, and you're, trying to do meet and greets in Fargo just for fun. It's like, I don't know, it's like that is 100% something you could be dismissed from. So I do think it's interesting thinking about kind of, okay, like last episode, we talked about cast members having family. It's like, okay, cast members have jobs too, and don't get them fired because you're trying to get them to break character. Like, go with their character, act like you're at Disney World and stuff. So anyways, just kind of an interesting thought. I think I was kind of thinking about as we're really seeing these like villains, I think especially take off, and knowing that comes with increased like scrutiny on those cast members performing the roles, and kind of, their performance is, kind of analyzed by different audience members and stuff. So yeah, just
And we're getting closer to the next holiday season. There's going to be new shows coming out too. Tally, the character Tally, will be returning. However, we don't know if the cast member that made Tally go viral, there's no guarantee that he's going to be coming back. So, and I guess some of the questions that even I've been saying, kind of to your extent, Ian, that you were asking, of why can some people talk about it and some people can't? And it boils down to who's equity and who's not equity. So an equity cast member is someone that is being paid for their voice to portray either a character or to portray themselves. So like, for example, the characters, like a good example would be like the characters in the villain show in Hollywood studios. They're equity performers. The Cruella that you meet and greet with during maybe Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party is not equity. That cast member is portraying that person. She is not speaking on behalf of Cruella. She is Cruella. She cannot say anything. Does that make sense? Yeah. Or even like characters such as the Historians of Arendelle. They're equity performers. So are the Anna, Elsa, and Kristoff in that show. But Anna and Elsa that you meet in Epcot are not. So it's like, so they can talk about certain things. They can say that they are certain people, but other performers cannot. And there's this weird gray line in between all of it. So overall, if you're not sure or that performer is not talking about it, it's probably because they legally can't do it because of their contract. So if you want it, like a lot of people have really worked hard for this role. They have auditioned multiple times, possibly for some of these roles. And we want to make sure that we give these cast members, like, we want to acknowledge, we want to tell them that they're doing a great and amazing job, but we can do that. Just don't try to add out the actor or the person portraying who that character is. Does that make sense? We just don't want another Tally fiasco for any of the other great shows that are coming out here this next holiday season.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Clarence, do you have any thoughts or opinions on this? Or is there a character that you really enjoyed watching here on social media that they've had some really good points?
No, I've been doxing characters all my life, so I've just been I have all of the addresses, all of the phone numbers, all
no,
the
you don't.
Of every character actor at Disney World. Be worried. I'm joking. I don't have anything. No, don't dox people. Don't harass people if they're just doing their job. Like they're working, they're getting a paycheck. They're probably enjoying their time. They've worked hard to get that role. Let's not ruin it for them.
Yes. Exactly.
Let's not be stalkers, like let's let the people go home, let them relax. Don't, you got to go off stage at some point.
Hades over at Oogie Boogie is like super, super cool. But for me personally, I don't want to know who that actor is because he was so cool and so awesome. I'm like, nah, that's my Hades. I thought he was awesome. So yeah.
Yeah. I think too, in the age of social media, people forget that like it's a one-way consumption. Like,
the parasocial relationship.
Yeah, totally. It's very parasocial. So like people are seeing something, they're seeing videos about a person, and they forget that like this person that you are watching doesn't know you. They are not familiar with you. They don't know your personal life. You are a stranger. And like that's any celebrity. Like any celebrity that you're aware of, they have no idea who you are. They are just living their life. They're just doing their thing.
Or even like the voice actor thing at that convention, where security had to step in because of one of the super stalkers that tried to get into their hotel room.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I saw that video. That was insane.
And it keeps recirculating now that we're getting back into con season again here into the like January, February months again for the winter cons. Like that video is recirculating and I'm like, oh yeah, that's cringe. But so it happens in all realms of the entertainment world. It's not just theme parks, but
totally.
Yeah, so well beyond theme parks too.
Yeah.
So if you want nice things, i.e. good performances, fun events at Disney, immersive experiences. If you want nice things, you got to take care of nice things, okay?
Exactly.
Don't be the reason why we can't have nice things, okay?
Like, oh my goodness, I was explaining this to somebody else too. Like, well, let me do this last point and then we'll wrap this up. Of the walk around characters that have been happening during Cool Kid Summer here at Walt Disney World. Walk around characters don't happen for us here at Walt Disney World. And it's because people ruined it, basically. Like, you can't act right when Flynn Rider and Rapunzel are walking through a Fantasyland. So again, if you want something and you like something, don't mess it up. Like, react appropriately, respond appropriately on social media, take really cute photos, post really great interactions. Don't make it weird. Don't ask them weird questions or try to like mess up the character, try to break the character on purpose. Because at the end of the day, they're just trying to have fun. They're just walking around Fantasyland talking to kids. It's great.
Exactly. That was probably my fault, honestly. I got really excited and I was really hungry when I saw Olaf's nose, and so I tried to rip it off his face to eat it. And yeah, so that's probably why there's no walk around characters in Magic Kingdom. It's all
Guys, that didn't actually happen. I want to go ahead and put that in there that Clarence did not actually do that.
Anyway,
that's why, and that's actually why Clarence is not allowed into the parks today. In case you're aware.
Surprise! No, not really. Clarence is not banned from the park.
I'm gonna like
in any of the U.S. parks.
Spread enough misinformation about myself that I just get permabanned from Disney without actually doing anything.
Clarence, you can't do that.
Yikes. Okay, moving on.
Yeah.
The Dapper Danielle Show will be right back after these messages.
It's been almost a month.
Yes.
No updates about Paddlefish Caper.
Despicable.
About the greatest Disney villain to ever live.
I was talking to some good friends that worked previously over at Paddlefish, that do know some people over at Paddlefish, and they're just like, yeah, it's gone radio silent. This whole news, it broke online. It went to national news networks. It was talked about on Good Morning America, and nobody has been arrested that we know of. The investigation supposedly is still ongoing, and there's no other follow-ups. It's been a month, and I just want to know, do we have an inkling? Do we have an actual clear idea of, did he actually get in the water? Where did this go? Has any money suddenly circulated back up or something like that? I am just... that kind of information I am more curious about. I want to know that. I don't necessarily need to know who it was. I just need to know how they did it, you know?
You know what it makes me think is that it was all a ruse done by Paddlefish so they could get an insurance payout.
I bet you money. It was all for marketing.
I mean, maybe.
Or just
maybe.
business. Like,
Because
how
when
many
was the
people are
last time
going to
Paddlefish has been in
now?
the news? Right.
When's the last time anybody's cared about Paddlefish?
Exactly.
Let's be real.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
The only time that people have really cared about Paddlefish was when things kept breaking because of the way that the sewer lines, good times, when I was working in merchandise as a coordinator, and we were doing, actually I was working in facilitating. I was doing tours for third-party classes, and we were in the middle of class, and we got a notification saying, hey, you can't walk this normal route on your tour. And we're like, why? Oh, the sewer line has busted, and it looks like a volcano right in front of Paddlefish. And
Wonderful.
we were like, oh, great. So we had to rotate around our entire class and go in the opposite direction. So good times, good times.
This is going to be our children's generation's problem. You know, it's like going to be like declassify the Paddlefish files. You know what I mean? Like, let the story come to surface, because obviously this is being just completely, you know, covered up, kept under tight wraps.
I am so happy though that we did that bonus episode, because is it one of those things that it happened, the news hit it, and then it's going to go silent. The whole story is going to completely disappear from the internet and into vague obscurity. So maybe by us talking about it and doing a whole YouTube episode about it, will this question investigation live on a little bit longer than what was made out for it, you know?
It's gonna be like Buzzy, the animatronic. Like
Right.
nothing's gonna happen. Like my hope was that because Paddlefish is a third party, right? Mm-hmm. That it would have a little more public like interest, or it would be more accessible to the public. But I do think that like in the long run, after a month with no updates, we're looking at a Buzzy situation where like you get a little bit of information when it happens, and then it's all speculation for the rest of the time.
And that was weird.
Except for our analysis.
Speaking of animatronics and Buzzy animatronics,
Yes.
We just got first glimpses of Officer Clawhauser from Zootopia's Better Together.
Sorry, that was a lot higher than I anticipated.
I will
Anyway,
say,
continue.
he's kind of a recreation of what's over in Shanghai. So a little bit different outfit, different costume, but pretty much same animatronic mechanics, as I understand it, is going to be at this new attraction that's coming to Tree of Life in Animal Kingdom, replacing It's Tough to Be a Bug. I actually think that this one picture of him bears an uncanny resemblance to expressions that Clarence has made in the past. Tell me you have not seen Clarence make this exact face before. He literally can make that exact face. I don't know why. There's something about it, the like smugness of it, of like, I love you, but I'm right kind of face. Like, I don't know. It just looks exactly like him. The other pictures look nothing like Clarence at all, but something about that expression, I was like, this is Clarence right now. Like, he's in animatronic form. So
I will not be able to unsee that
I
at
love that.
all.
That makes me happy.
Clawhauser is one of my favorite characters in Zootopia. Clawhauser and Mr. Big, the little the rodent mob boss, are my favorites. But I'm really excited for this. I was happy we got some updates. We know that he's getting ready to he is installed. I assume that's actually from his installation. And that's why they're able to post some photos from as they're getting closer and ready for this to open. It's actually going to be opening in exactly, a couple weeks after this episode opens. It'll be opening November 7th. So I have my reservation. I hopefully will be there at the opening of this attraction in Animal Kingdom. We're very, very excited for it. And other news that came out of this too is that while we're getting new animatronics, we are also getting updates / new animatronics to pre-existing rides. Did you guys see this?
Yes, and it is about time.
Amen. Amen.
So what Danielle's referring to is we are getting some updated animatronics to Frozen in Epcot, and thank God, because the projected faces were so uncanny and creepy and bad. It's about time we're getting some better like animatronics. I do think part of it is the Frozen when it opened.
Yes.
Was so rushed.
Oh yeah.
Like the turnover from what was the original ride?
Maelstrom.
Oh gosh. Maelstrom. The turnover from Maelstrom to Frozen was so fast that like when Frozen opened, I remember riding it shortly after it opened, and it just looked empty. It looked like the walls were painted and there were some random animatronics with creepy faces, and that was it. There was hardly any decor on the ground or on like the trees or anything.
The smoke effects weren't working properly to hide the blank spaces.
It just looked like a warehouse with a boat in it. Like it was really bad.
That's Norway.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. But now it over time has gotten much better. They've added more stuff to it over time, it seems like. And I think the projection animatronics were just a like cost cutting, corner cutting measure. Like it was just,
but it's
they
like
wanted to get it open fast.
It's a weird place to like cut costs to me, because Disney animatronics, it's like probably the faces are some of the most reliable components of the majority of animatronics we see, and it's things like the Na'vi River Cruise where it's like, actually the waist is broken, and like, it's things where it's like, I'm like, okay, yes, things can all break, the more motors and stuff you have, the more, but like like it's not like all of your animatronics for the rest of the body operate at 100% peak performance the rest of the time, and it's only the faces that break down all the time. It's like, why would you choose to like skimp on that part and still have the rest of the animatronic work if those parts are going to break just as often as the face? It's like, well, just do the whole shebang and get. I agree with you, Claire. So maybe they're just trying to get it out fast when it happens,
right? And it did work for like getting it out fast. However, I think it was even more uncanny when things broke, because not only was the body not moving, it would just be in like a T power pose, it just not doing anything. But then the face would be a Windows loading screen, and you're just like, that is awful. This Windows loading screen is wearing an Anna wig, where now if for some reason an animatronic goes down, at least there's a face. Will it be standing deadpan looking out into the middle distance? Yes, but it won't look like an AI robot trying to eat me or jump at me from the side of the attraction, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
true. I agree.
I don't know. I'm very excited for it. These are actually very similar. If not, I wonder when they were doing the stuff for Hong Kong and all the new Frozen rides, especially over in Tokyo, were they just making duplicates of these animatronics? And they're like, okay, well, we can justify, we'll make these at the same time, and then that way they're twins, and then we'll just bring it over to Epcot. And we don't really have any set dates on when this is going to be switching over. We do know it's going to be happening early next year. And if it is just a switch out, the ride itself is not changing. There probably will be a change in lighting, which is kind of exciting, because then you're illuminating full 3D figures, not blue balancing out for an electronic face, right? Mm-hmm. So I think the lighting's going to be updated and fixed a little bit. The just overall presentation quality is going to be hugely enhanced by switching out these animatronics. I'm very, very excited for that. But we don't have any dates or times. That will probably come, I assume, in our weird slow season. We don't really have a slow season anymore in Epcot. I'm guesstimating in January after the holiday season, before they switch over into full Festival of the Arts. And then I could see them trying to open it up after Princess Marathon season, so maybe towards March.
Or if there's something, I feel like Disney, maybe I'm wrong, but if there's something opening in Epcot on a different side of the park, then they will close down, Frozen. Like if there's something that's going to draw a bunch of people, like Guardians or something, when that opens, it's obviously pulling a bunch of people to the front of the park, so you can update the back of the park, is kind of my thought. But
right. Well, there's not really anything announced or planned, though. Well, and even then, if it does happen, I'm guesstimating, and hopefully this will only be a quick month turnaround time, not a multi-month closure like some of these other attractions are experiencing. I
feel like do it right though.
Do it right. We're like,
if
you
it
be
takes
quick, but
longer,
also take
right.
your time, sweetie.
Do it right. Don't do what happened before, where it's just a rush turnaround to try to meet the demand and make it look bad. Which, granted, you're just switching animatronics out. Sorry.
Right.
I was going to say, speaking of doing it right, let's switch from animatronics that everyone is asking for to an animatronic that no one, absolutely nobody, actually asked for. And that is the potential of a Walt animatronic showing up at Carousel of Progress. And after the amazing success of Walt in Disneyland, the widespread positive feedback about his appearance, Disney's like, hey, why don't we just do it again at Carousel of Progress instead of doing literally any of the other high demand projects that we could have done instead? I know, let's bring Walt to Walt Disney World. I don't
but at the same time, I'm personally fine with that. I'm like, I didn't ask for it, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, I'm cool. I'm fine with that. That's chill. That's chill. That's cool. Only because I'm excited for the theme that they're moving forward with this Walt. It will not be the same as the Walt that's over in Disneyland. It's still going to be Walt Disney, but the subject matter in his speech that he's going to be talking about Carousel of Progress. And they're referencing the blue sweater vest Walt that's seen in the videos, the pre-show videos before you go into the attraction, when he's talking to the Sherman brothers and all this other stuff. So I'm I'm personally really excited for it. And that means that Carousel of Progress will be sticking around a little bit longer.
Do you think is it going in that opening scene where it just has the little Carousel of Progress logo?
Yes.
I like that. I think that'll be good.
I think it'll be good.
I'm fine with that. I think the opening scene of just the little logo behind the curtain is with the narration is like, okay.
It feels
cool.
like Dead Space, right?
Yeah, like it could be utilized better. So, yeah, I think that'll be cool.
So we know it's coming, but we don't exactly know when. That one is a little more vague in timeline, even more so than the Frozen one is. So as soon as we find out, we'll let y'all know. So yes, exciting things coming in the animatronic world. I'm pretty psyched about those.
Yes, definitely. Well, I think we should move on to our cast member memoir.
Yes.
Do we want to read this story? This is a very interesting one.
This is a very interesting one. And I do want to preface this with, like this person was not a cast member, right? But this person did work in a theme park. So we are all about themed entertainment across the globe here at the Dapper Danielle show. We do talk heavily about Disney because that's what the Dapper Danielle is very passionate about. But we do want to highlight other stories, other theme parks, and things that are happening elsewhere. And we are going to be diving into that a little bit more here in the upcoming episodes too, with some really cool things that are happening in the industry. And we do want to talk about those. This one is actually a very unfortunate story. So I do want to preface this with, it does have a little bit of a sad reference. It was in reference to an accident that happened at one of the Six Flag parks, one of the superhero accidents. Do you guys remember this? I remember this making national news years ago.
I don't remember this happening.
You don't?
I'm happy to read this one. That way there's not a audio bit of you reading this.
Clarence, I think that is a wise choice. Yes, I will have you read through this.
Yeah. So remember, send your stories to podcast@thedapperdanielle.com. We're going to share them here. This one is from Connie. We're just going to say the first name. We're not going to...
They no longer work for a theme park or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean the last one we just said the first name. So, all right. So here we go. Connie. Hello, Dap. Let me start that again. Sorry. Okay. Hello, Dapper family. Well, I have never been a Disney cast member. I was a team member in the entertainment department at a Six Flags park for 7 years. So backstory, as a franchise park, so to speak, several parks have the same rides. Mm-hmm. This particular season, there was a new drop ride that had been put into several parks, including mine. One of these rides, at a different park from mine, had a severe malfunction and accident that unfortunately severely injured a 12-year-old girl. To put it bluntly, a cable snapped underneath and it took off her feet. Little graphic. Mm-hmm. Now, this particular season, my show cast shared a break room with Daffy Duck and Porky and Petunia Pig.
Love them. Sorry.
A few days after that accident, one afternoon, Daffy comes through the door and instantly hits the ground. He is laughing so hard that he cannot breathe. His escort is behind him laughing so hard they are crying. After a few minutes, they were able to compose themselves to tell us what happened. The last little girl in Daffy's line, who was about 5 years old, came up to him, gave hugs, and took photos. Then before leaving, turned around and with a very serious face asked Daffy if he rides that specific ride. Daffy shook his head no, and she looked relieved, then said, "Good, because you would get your ducky feet cut off and die, and I would miss you." Then just walked away. Daffy and his escort were so stunned, they immediately came inside because they could not keep their composure. This is probably a little gruesome to share on the podcast, but it will give the three of you a giggle. Yeah, so thank you, Connie, for this very unfortunate but amusing story.
But what's that actually kind of pertains to what we were talking about earlier, and about actors and them portraying these characters and how these characters are not supposed to be up on real world events. right? And then so when you come up to a character and you make a statement saying these real world events or these things that are not within their realm or in their world, it makes it really awkward for them and they don't know what to do. And the best thing they can do is leave. They just have to leave and come back out and do it all over again. And so Daffy Duck, thank you. This story is hilarious. I think it's awful. I think the circumstances of why the story happened is awful, but I think it's hilarious how it happened to Daffy and his escort. And why they were like, oh, the kids say the darndest things, you know, they really do.
I'm amazed that the 5-year-old girl knew about that. Like, I think that's what's shocking to me.
No, I mean, even throwback to my days as a cast member and like working like with little kids, especially, oh my goodness, in children's activities at the resorts, and then you're there at the microphone and these kids will get to see you every single day, especially if you work like full time. You're there 5 days a week. You have the same European family that's staying there for 2 to 3 weeks. They get to know you really, really well. And so they start to feel really comfortable with you. They will come up and tell you everything and all the family drama and what dad said to mom yesterday at dinner. And you're just like, oh, I should not know this information, child. Thank you for sharing.
Bingo. Anybody for bingo?
And we're going to play Big Splash Party.
Sing along.
And you're like praying. You're like, when kids run up to you, I would have to get into the habit of holding the microphone so high up so that way the mic wouldn't pick up their voices if they were screaming at me. Because I did not want this to be announced. Like if it was lower and like if I held it at my stomach and the kids were there talking, my mom said, and then it would just be projected out to the entire pool with a really intense version of Sandstorm playing in the background while also my mic is picking it up in live time. Can you imagine that?
So amazing.
Some kid dumping the family trauma on Mike while Darude's Sandstorm plays on the pool deck is
literally
the funniest mental image.
Miss Danielle, my mom says she hates being here with my granddad at Disney World because
she'd rather be home with my uncle. Yeah.
You got the electric slide playing in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I'm just standing there with my mouth wide open. Then you hear, it's electric. Yeah. Yeah, guys, kids like throwback to Into the Woods, right? Children will listen, children will learn. They are listening to everything and anything. And so if you say anything in front of a kid, they will retain it and they will regurgitate it to whoever they think will find it the most shocking. In this case, it was Daffy Duck at Six Flags.
Yep.
The Dapper Danielle Show will be right back after these messages.
Speaking of shocking and terrifying information, I think that's a wonderful segue into our main attraction.
Let's get into the main attraction.
Spooky version. Yeah, exactly. Nice. Very good.
I do think we still need a jingle for some of these in between pieces. We'll work on that some more too. You know, kind of stick with the vintage TV show vibe for breaking up the segments a little bit more. Well,
that's code for Clarence. Make something.
Yeah.
So switching though to our main attraction, now that we are here after our brief interlude there, we thought it would be interesting kind of thinking about the spooky season and thinking about the power that ghost stories can have to haunt us this time of year and to bring people into specific locations. You know, there's a lot of places around the world. In Tennessee, we have a haunted cave next to the Bell family mansion where the Bell Witch was known to have terrorized the family and has retreated to the cave. In Savannah, you have a very haunted town known for
the entire town's haunted.
And, you know, former slaves and people dying in houses. And
the plague,
down fireplaces.
what was the
Yellow
really
fever.
big...
Yellow
Which one?
fever happened in
Yellow
Savannah.
fever.
Yellow
A lot of
fever,
people
yes.
died. Most of the time, if there's a lot of death and a lot of death, those places tend to be more haunted in people's experience. So we thought it'd be interesting to kind of have an episode of some of the more spooky ghost tales and hauntings that supposedly have occurred at mostly Disney World, because that's our kind of expertise. That's our bread and butter. But
We do have
a
some
few
good
from
ones though from
Disneyland.
Disneyland though,
Yes.
and I feel like some of these are a little more fathomable for Disneyland, only because that park is older, and a lot of the safety precautions that we have nowadays have only been in effect probably in the past like 25 years or so, or 30 years.
It's also built in LA over stuff that was there before, which I think personally contributes to a place's hauntability.
Yes.
Walt Disney World is built over Cowland. I mean, there's like cow ghosts wandering around. There is not like 50 years of people, death, all kinds of stuff
that's
happening
interesting.
there.
Why
You know?
don't we have like
Yeah, exactly. I was eaten by an alligator on this spot.
and then the alligator walks up and is like a 9-foot gator. Sup? Yeah, I ate him. But I want those kind of
Poor cows
ghosties
in the
around Disney World. I want giant gator ghosts. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah. Before we jump into the Disney ones, though, I will share a little personal anecdote.
Yes.
I worked at a record label for quite a few years, and something I would do, a prank I would pull on the interns that would come with us each like semester that would come in, they would cycle out. I would ask them about if they ever encountered the ghost. And so back in the day, the label I worked at signed a band called Carrollton. And Carrollton's not signed to the label anymore, but we named the ghost Carrollton. The ghost was completely made up. I completely made it up. It wasn't real. I even photoshopped pictures from like our chili cook-off and put like the silhouette of a Civil War soldier in the background and a little red circle with an arrow pointing to it.
And your label though was built on a like the whole side of the neighborhood, and like where the business was built was on a Civil War battleground. So this was totally feasible. There's like a plaque at the edge of the city. Yeah.
So
like
it
a
wasn't like
skirmish.
it was like a skirmish. It wasn't a legit battle because it was on the outskirts of the Battle of Franklin. There were a few skirmishes there. So it's plausible that there were Civil War ghosts. There is a Civil War cemetery very close by to the office where I worked at. So essentially I would tell them like at lunch one day, and I got all of my coworkers in on it too, but I was always the one instigating it. And I was like, have you encountered Carrollton? And they're like, who's Carrollton? Who is that? And because Carrollton, the band name, is plausible for a Civil War name.
It does sound like a old Southern family name, you know?
Yeah. And so I basically made up this story that Carrollton was a Union soldier that died during one of the skirmishes, and his body was recovered years later when they were building the office, and he haunts the building. And so whenever something happens, or like if you're here early in the morning or late at night by yourself, things might move, you might hear things. There was one intern in particular that I told this story to, and not 10 minutes later, something loud falls in one of the storage closets. Just
And Clarence was not responsible for it.
Nobody was in there too. Like, I think one of our radio guys went in, grabbed something, and left, and like it took a few minutes for whatever he pulled to like fall and make a clatter. I kid you not, this intern comes up to me and she's like, Clarence, you just told me about Carrollton, and that just happened. I thought you were lying. I'm like, no, that's Carrollton. You know,
You still kept
That's
going with
him.
it too.
I kept it up. I never told anybody, like at any of the interns. They just left fully believing that the office was haunted. And yeah, that was just a fun little prank I like to
So
pull.
you're saying that some of these stories and ghost stories could have been put on by a Clarence also in these locations?
I think so. I think there is a possibility that some of these superstitions and these ghost stories that we are about to get into were just some coworker who wanted to pull a prank on somebody and just have a good laugh.
And had enough of truth sprinkled in there, and enough of like, I have some weird things to say. Okay, no, we knew of the Civil War history, we knew of things surrounding the area. I can make this feasible. I can make this plausible.
Exactly. And I had the Photoshop ability. Like, I was in creative, so I was just photoshopping images of this ghost in the background and
These
showing
orbs.
it to them, like, look, here's proof. And they're like, oh my gosh. So anyway,
So bad, so good.
I love it though at the same time though. I think it's great.
let's jump into some of the Disney ones.
Yes, I think the one that everybody knows, and we don't know, this isn't really a specific ghost. I kind of just want to start with the Raven. I feel like this is one story that I think is so cool. I love my Haunted Mansion cast members here at Walt Disney World, and I think this is more of a Disney World specific Haunted Mansion story. And Disneyland, this does not happen. I guess this is not something that their cast members do. It is a world specific thing, and it's the Raven, right? And the story is that the cast members have a superstition that they have to go and pet the Raven, say good morning, give it its morning pets. And then if they don't do that when they're walking the track first thing in the morning, the ride will break down or something awful will happen. Right? And then they also have to go through, I guess, and say goodnight to the Raven as well. So that way the ride shuts down properly, and then it'll wake up the next morning. And I think that's interesting. And some supposedly some cast members have tested it, and they would, if they had a clopen, right? They closed it the night before and they opened it the next day. And I guess they tested it and they're like, no, it's real. Like you have to pay your homages or something. The ride just will not open or work the rest of the day. So it's very, very interesting. What do you guys think about this story? Do you think this is a true superstition? Do you think there's a ghost associated with it? I don't believe there's a ghost associated with it. I think this is just kind of like a weird ritual, right?
Yeah, I think it's more just a superstition rather than a ghost. I didn't see anything that pertained to like the Raven being haunted.
No.
You know, I think there are other ghost stories that are a little more plausible in the Haunted Mansion.
Oh, and he does have a name. He goes by Diablo. What I think is also interesting is like the idea of enough people believing in something to give it power kind of thing. Like enough people agree with this, like this is the superstition. If this happens and we don't do this thing and we name it and we speak it into being, then that's what causes this thing to happen, right? So it's not a ghost, but it's giving power to an inanimate object, right?
Totally. I do think it's interesting too. There's kind of this, it seems like with Disney at least, there's this, and maybe it's true for other entertainment industry, like in other parks as well, but there's this like, this is not the only example of like sort of treating an inanimate object on the ride correctly in order to have the ride operate as it should, you know. And like another one that came up I've heard before is with Tower of Terror. There's the I don't know which, I've actually not ridden Tower of Terror in Disneyland or Disney World, so I have no idea where this is on the ride, but there's a ventriloquist doll named Caesar in the ride, kind of it makes an appearance in the Twilight Zone. And that one was also known to be one similar to the Raven, where you had to kind of acknowledge and pay your respects to,
or it was just, you had to say good morning Caesar, like when they were walking it. It was like, I don't know if they maybe the ventriloquist dummy was then called Caesar, but supposedly the name you have to call out when they walk the track in the morning is good morning Caesar, good night Caesar, right? So
it's interesting, just interesting to me. I think just this concept of that there's examples of this. I know we'll talk about pirates, you know, in a little bit, you know, in the future here, but I just, you know, again, another example of having to kind of pay your respects in order to have the ride operate smoothly, you know, which is just kind of interesting concept, I think, for a superstition.
Well, I mean, in the theme park world, it makes sense, though, because all a cast member wants is, bride, please don't break down for a long period of time. I don't want guests yelling at me. I gotta manifest this into some type of apparition in the attraction to blame it on, or maybe it's just a way to blame it on something. So that way, if a ride does break down and there's just no explanation for it, there's no logical reason, it just decides, nope, the sensor is totally fine. It just doesn't want to work today. Oh, it's Caesar.
Yeah, it's easy to blame it on something else rather than just it being old.
That too. Or just like a wire's gone bad. We don't want to acknowledge that the mice have gotten into the electrical system.
Yeah, heaven forbid.
Heaven forbid.
I mean, the park is run by a mouse. We shouldn't be surprised there are mice in the park.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, some of the other ones I was just going to say quickly for Haunted Mansion is there's a man with a cane that's known to kind of walk around the attraction and ride in the attraction as well too. And I think,
And is that the Disney World one or is that the Disneyland
Disney
one?
World one, because allegedly he is the ghost of a 1940s pilot that crashed his plane into Bay Lake and died there. So maybe going back to the cow ghost, he's like one of them, before Disney was there, a, fatality on site. I don't really understand, like, Bay Lake is not super close to Haunted Mansion. So it's kind of like, well, why would you pick Haunted Mansion as opposed to, like, Railway, or the Walt Disney World Railroad, or anything on Main Street that's much closer than Bay Lake?
Well, I mean,
guess
if you were going to pick
to the back, but
if you were going to pick an attraction, it's the only attraction that really truly looks like a house. So if you were just a ghostly apparition just kind of floating around and you're just like, this looks like a good place to set up residency. It looks like my old home from back in the Victorian era.
But you could have a castle, It's
Is that how 1940s people talked now?
It's the transatlantic accent, yo boy. I don't know, maybe.
No, it's true. It's like interesting to me, or like even Jungle Cruise to me. It's like you're a pilot, it seems like Jungle Cruise has a lot of crash plane-esque stuff,
Or was that traumatizing to him? And that's why he's just like, nah, it reminds me too much of the reason why I was here. I landed in the swamplands of Florida, couldn't escape, maybe got eaten by an alligator, didn't want to go into the Amazon. That's the whole thing.
But I think there is some credibility to this because, you've all known, if you've watched the documentary Up made by Pixar, there's a pilot with a cane in that's the bad guy. And who's to say that he is not haunting Haunted Mansion today as well?
Cane guy confirmed. If I was a ghost and I crashed my plane into Bay Lake, I would haunt the concierge level of the Polynesian Resort. That's where I would want
Bay
to be.
Lake is technically the one. So, for those that are unfamiliar, Seven Seas Lagoon in front of the Magic Kingdom that connects like Polynesia and Grand Floridian, all that. That's the man-made lake. The lake that was there beforehand was Bay Lake in between Fort Wilderness and Contemporary Resort. So I would find it very... I actually would think Fort Wilderness Campground is probably more haunted than any other location.
Probably. I think that's a possibility. I would see... What about the little island? The Treasure Island? Adventure
Yeah.
Island? What was it called before?
I mean, in the 70s, it was called Treasure Island.
Treasure Island. Or something. It was where
it
the
did get
bird
renamed,
stuff
yeah.
was. How... That feels like a creepy place. Like
That's
that,
totally...
especially now that it's abandoned and like just run down. There are videos of urban explorers swimming to the island and exploring it, and it is creepy.
Hey, in 2020, we had a homeless man living out there for 3 days.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
I didn't know that. That's wild.
It was like right after COVID shut down, and he accessed the waterway near like the back of property and cut through the woods area and literally swam across to the river or across the waterway onto the island and like set up residency there for like 48 plus hours.
Wow.
And finally, Orange County and Disney security had to boat over there. And this is when we're shut down. There's nobody else on property. And so I am shocked that he got caught or seen. And supposedly it was because he was swimming around in the water outside on the island, and a Disney security guard just walking the perimeter of whatever resort's like, that don't look right. And
There's a guy.
literally, yes.
That's
Literally,
like a
yes.
great
And that's the
example
only
of,
reason why I was caught. The camera footage is can be seen. Like, it's on YouTube or something like that, because you have the Orange County body cam footage. And so that's the most updated stuff in 2020 of video of the island.
Which is like a great example of like things that are weird if you're like poor, but not weird if you're rich. Like, you want to live on an island in the middle of Walt Disney World? Great. We'll either call you like the founder and visionary genius of Disney, or we'll call you a homeless guy and arrest you. Like, you know, it's like Walt planned to live on an island in the middle of Disney World too here. So like, you know, who are we pointing the gun at, kind of? But anyways, I also, every
really
time
accurate.
when I think about Adventure Island and it kind of being closed, there's this like one series of scenes from the third Jurassic Park movie where they're on this island, and there's the atrium, which has all the flying dinosaurs kind of in this giant enclosed like atrium type space, and they go on there and they, you know, have to go through it or whatever. But I always think about that with the island. I'm always like picturing like, yeah, if you get on the island, it's just this like vast area with like these hidden, you know, dinosaur birds that would attack you, and like it's very Jurassic Park vibes, even though it's just kind of a swamp island in the middle of nowhere. Like, there's
There was
really,
there were vultures that were living out there for the longest time, and they were huge. These giant crane looking things, these giant pelican looking things.
Yeah, definitely seems like a top 10 potentially haunted places, unverified, no stories, but potentially haunted places.
Would it be my
on
dream
Disney
to go
property.
out there and investigate and do like a whole, you know, y'all, this is, Disney would never allow this. Disney would never green light this. But wouldn't this be a great 2-hour long series on Disney Plus, right? Maybe before they decide to finally tear down the island and do something with it, let us, Disney, actually, I'm gonna get close again for this, and I'm gonna stare directly into the camera for this. Let us go and do our ghost investigation of the island. We'll do our full documentation. We'll say, okay, we understand this island, this was abandoned for XYZ reasons. We won't judge. We won't point fingers towards the company or anything, but just let us explore and see what was left behind before it's all gone. And then we'll make it like this whole, even maybe we'll plant our own ghosts. So that way when they tear it down, it'll like, I don't know, whenever they do something else with the island, we can have some really good, legit ghost stories attached to it.
It's just a 2-hour special of us walking around with night vision cameras saying, "Hello? Is someone there? Guys, I saw something. I saw something."
And then me running, panting heavily,
2
trying
hours,
to get away from
2 straight
something.
hours of nothing but that, basically.
You know, people would pay for that.
Love that. That would
We would be the
so
reason
fun.
Disney Plus survives another catastrophic dip in its viewership, you know.
Subscriber base, yeah.
You know, I'm just saying, Disney Plus, give us the permissions. We'll make it happen. You don't even, well, you can pay us a little bit. Maybe pay for our psychology afterwards, but you know, like, I don't know. I think that would be so cool.
Podcast at thedapperdanielle.com. Please, somebody at Disney, reach out. I want to bring a spirit box to Treasure Island and find a ghost.
Please. And wouldn't that be creepy of like you're there and it's just the 70s or 80s version of the Mickey Mouse Club, and that's all the ghost knows from that time on the island, and it's just like M-I-C-K-E-Y-M-O-U-S-E, and that's all you hear.
That'd be great. There's actually, okay, this is, we need to move on to our other ghost stories. But one more thing. There is a fan game that is a ripoff. It's not a ripoff. It is a fan game of Five Nights at Freddy's. It is called Five Nights at Treasure Island. It is a Disney-themed version of the game that takes place on Treasure Island.
No, it's not.
Very creepy. It is a please check it out.
Like,
it's real.
Is it an 18 plus like scare game or?
I mean, I've not played it myself. I've seen videos of people playing it, and I would say it looks creepy. I would say it's a little frightening, but I also get scared very easily. So, if you're a very brave 10-year-old, 13-year-old, sure, go ahead. I'm not your mom. Do what you want. But I would say maybe if you're on the older side, maybe it'd be something fun
if you
to
like
check
the scare
out
games.
this
Investigate
Halloween.
this for us, because I sure as heck am not going to investigate it. I'm a chicken butt too. I don't do anything scary, like, at all.
Mickey's
Yeah,
not so scary as spooky as I do.
If you play it and you beat it, let us know, because the homeless guy, he only did 3 nights on Treasure Island. He didn't make it very far in the game.
He got too
So
scared.
If you can make it 5 nights, then great. You know, that's pretty good.
That is awesome. Thank you for telling me that, Clarence. Now I kind of want to investigate, but also not investigate it, because I'd be like, I'm too scared. I don't want to see.
Danielle, what you need to do is a playthrough of it. You need to stream yourself playing and put it on your Patreon. That would be amazing. That would be so funny. I will literally be on stream with you just watching you play it. That'd be so fun.
Well, what's funny is that I do kind of want to get into like some
That would be
like
funny.
desktop like gaming type stuff. I don't know if I want to necessarily do scary stuff though.
We can,
Sure.
when you're in Tennessee, you can play it and we can stream it then, because then you won't be sleeping in your apartment by yourself necessarily.
That's true.
Like, spooked,
That
you know.
actually
We can all
accurate.
be there to...
I'll be staying over at mom and dad's house, and I'll just go knock on the door. Mom, Dad, Clarence made me play a scary game. And mom will roll over and she's like, Danielle, you are a 31-year-old woman. Go back to bed. No, mom, I'm scared.
That'd be funny. How long would the playthrough be? How long would it take?
It'd probably be an hour or so if I had to guess.
Couple hours, yeah.
Easy money.
It depends on how many times you die or lose.
Which would probably be a lot, because I don't do a very good job at video games.
Okay, I feel like we should move on to some haunted Disneyland stories.
Ooh, yes. Yes,
Clarence, I know you had heard a couple of good ones. Do you maybe want to share at least one, maybe 2, depending on how much time
Should I
we have?
read the men's room basement ghost?
Yes, because this one I've even heard of, and I'm not considered a Disneylander. I love going and visiting Disneyland, and I've heard this story before. So if you want to share this one, and for the Disneyland folks that are listening, we want to hear if you've heard this story. So definitely let us know in the comments of this podcast where you're listening to. Like, let us know.
Yeah, so this I found on haunteddoc.com, and it was submitted by someone named Annabelle. And
Oh, that's
I'm
creepy.
just going to read the story because I feel like that's the best way to do it. And maybe I'll put some spooky music underneath while I'm
mood
reading
setting.
it. So I work the 3rd shift, custodial. Everyone jokes around about the park being haunted, especially if you're new. I was in my first year as a 3rd shift custodial. I had already heard all sorts of ghost stories from other cast members, so I was afraid to work alone anywhere in the park. At this point, I hadn't had anything happen to me. Till this night. I'll never forget it. So I was working in Toontown, and I was assigned to work in Mickey's basement, which is below Mickey's house. There's a set of bathrooms, a break room, and a small gym. I started off by cleaning the men's bathroom, then went over to the women's bathroom. As I was in the women's room, I started to hear something moving around. I wasn't sure what it was. I ignored it and continued to work. Then I started to sweep the gym, and again I heard something moving. This time, I heard it coming from the men's bathroom. So I shouted, "Hello? Anyone in the men's bathroom?" There was no response. So, I took a look in the men's bathroom, and nothing. No one was there. So I continue to work. As I'm in the break room, I hear it again. Something moving around in the men's bathroom. I go look again, and the trash can was in the middle of the bathroom. I just thought maybe I didn't move it back when I was cleaning. So I move it back to the side. I go back to cleaning the break room. Then I started to sweep and mop the floors. As soon as I started to mop, there it goes again. Movement in the bathroom. I go to look and the trash can was moved again. This time it was in the opposite side of the room. That's when I started to get scared. I moved it back and was trying to rush out of there. I had already finished the bathrooms in the gym. When I was halfway done with the break room, I hear the trash can move again. and this time I ignore it and try to move as fast as I can. At this point, I'm scared. I don't even want to be down there. I'm thinking in my head, if there's something down here, it can't hurt me. I just need to hurry. I'm almost done. And that's when I hear, right off my left shoulder, "Get out." In the most creepiest voice. I kind of froze. I could feel my hair standing straight up. I grabbed all my stuff and ran out of there. I didn't finish mopping. I was just so scared I didn't want to finish. I just ran out of there. Till this day, I won't step foot down there alone. After that, I had heard other stories from cast members who had experiences down there, and every story had something to do with the men's bathroom. From hearing things and seeing shadowy figures, I have had other experiences in the park, but this one was the scariest.
Ooh. My question is, though, is this Disneyland?
Yeah.
Or is this
Disneyland?
Toontown.
Is there a downstairs in Disneyland? Because they don't have utilidors like we do in Disney World.
It says it's
possible
below
it's just
Mickey's
a basement.
house. The set of bathrooms, a break room, and a small gym.
I don't know.
Oh, no. Let's see. Mickey's. I will conduct research while you guys discuss.
Let's find the schematics for Mickey's house in Toontown.
Well, we need to know the full schematics, yes.
Yeah. So I thought that was a fun story. I thought it was a little creepy.
I thought that was
spooky.
good. I was ready to have a little like Halloween snacky snack and listen to you tell this story. I thought that was great.
Thank you.
See?
Of course, there are other ghost stories that happen. Have we even touched on George yet?
No, we haven't touched on George.
Dang. So George, from my understanding, haunts Pirates of the Caribbean.
In Disney World or Land?
In Disney World. Danielle, you know this story.
Yes.
You're asking me like you don't
Well, no,
know
because
it.
I've also heard that Disneyland has their own ghost also for their Pirates of the Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't sure if that was the case or not. So this story kind of pertains to the idea that supposedly during the construction of Walt Disney World's Pirates of the Caribbean, there was some type of accident with a construction worker or a welder who passed away during the creation of the attraction. However, there is no documentation of an incident that occurred in the creation of this attraction. Right?
Yes.
Like, I mean, there could have been like a stubbed toe or something like that, but nothing to the point of somebody passing away. However, these cast members do believe that there is a George ghost and that he's kind of very much like Caesar. You have to say good morning, George, and good night, George. But this one does tie into some like unofficial lore, even though we don't have any type of like documentation of an incident happening. Where some of these actually do have documentation of like there was somebody that passed away on this attraction or in the vicinity of this attraction. Like that makes sense for some of these, but some of these more popular ghostly hauntings don't really have anything associated with it, you know?
Right. There's nothing like actionable or like that we can find.
Right.
That is like a legitimate background or proof of it. It seems to have just kind of come about. The stories just seem to have come about, like George. So George was, the story goes, and if you don't mind, I have it.
Do you have
pulled up
another?
here. I'm happy to read it.
Yes, please do.
The story goes that George was a young man who, while welding on an extremely high area of the ride during its construction, fell to his death. Granted, there is no record of this actually happening. Ever since opening day, inexplicable events have plagued the attraction. The tallest structure within the ride is a multi-windowed tower. It can be seen to the right of Carlos' house in the well dunking scene. And again from a different viewpoint during the burning city scene. The structure is supposedly the one which George fell from during the construction. And his initials, carved on the bottom of the tower, cannot be painted over, as they will bleed through the paint. The tower is called George's Tower by cast members. And rumor has it that if someone sees a light on in George's Tower during the dunking well scene, it means that George is home. If you get to the burning city scene and notice that the light is still on in George's Tower, which it often is not, then something bad is about to happen. After the burning city scene is the jail scene. To the right is the infamous dog, keys dangling from his mouth, taunting the audio animatronic prisoners. Behind the dog is a small door. The door has been called George's door, and it must be closed at all times. If George's door is left open, the ride should not be powered up in the morning. Maintenance staff know well enough to shut it behind them. However, sometimes the door begins the day shut and will, in the middle of the day, mysteriously creak open. If George's door is open, it is said a serious breakdown is sure to follow. As you can imagine, if the light is on in George's tower and George's door is open, it is considered to be especially bad. What a textbook account of all these customs, traditions, and superstitions fails to convey is the day-to-day reality of George. The morning and evening greetings to George over the PA are indeed mandated by Disney management, and any deviation will result in the day's breakdown being explicitly blamed on the closing cast member of a previous night. Switches, doors, water sensors, and other basic mechanics sometimes inexplicably malfunction, causing the ride computer to enter a cycle out mode, which means that the boat load gates lock and the computer enters a power down phase. So, if you work there, the story goes you're supposed to say good morning and good night to George, make sure that door is closed, and just be nice to George. You know, otherwise he's gonna mess with the ride.
What I do love about these ghosties is that all these ghosties in these stories are not out for revenge. They're just playful, and most of the time they're just still doing their job, right? So he's still messing with the ride. He's just hanging out. And I think that's kind of cool about these Disney ghosties is that they're not after anybody in particular. They're not like, you know how you hear some ghost stories of like they scream somebody's name that has done them wrong and they're still seeking revenge even in the afterlife kind of thing. These ones are just like, no, I just clocked in for my shift. I'm heading up to the tower. I was doing some work and I just want to be acknowledged for my hard work. And that's why you have to say good morning and good night to me. That's all I want.
Exactly. Some people also report that like phone calls will come out from empty rooms or like empty control rooms when no one's in there, or answering the phone and nobody's on the other end, which is another little spooky thing that George does. He likes to pull pranks.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's George. He's at Pirates of the Caribbean. He's a fun one. I like him a lot.
I like George.
Yeah, I do think, plus I think something that maybe adds to some of these is that a lot of people tend to sprinkle their loved ones' remains on some of these rides.
Please don't do this, by the way.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
I just think of like the genie quote of like, I can't bring people back from the dead. I don't like it. Like I say, I hear that voice in my head when like cast members are like, I don't want to have to clean it up. I don't like it.
Exactly. I think too, like with we think about like the supposed ghosts on It's a Small World. I think that's because a lot of people, like the dolls, allegedly move on their own, which I mean they do during the day anyway. They're
even when the audio's off and they're still moving when the audio's off and the attraction's like kind of running. So we do know this from when they're cleaning out the attraction, right? The audio can be off while they're in there cleaning because the jets are still on. That means the dolls are still moving.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Exactly. Yeah. So don't sprinkle your loved one's remains or ashes on any of these boat rides. It's going to clog the filters and they're going to be removing Uncle Larry with a vacuum.
Accurate.
It's unfortunate, but it's the reality. Someone with a hazmat suit is going to be in that water with an industrial vacuum cleaner cleaning out the filters.
Or it's mom. Should we share mom's story?
What's mom's story?
About how
boat one?
Yeah, the friendship boat one.
So unfortunate.
Do you not know this, Clarence? Or
no, I don't know this.
Okay, so for those that don't know, some people, they will also just take the loved one's remains and they'll also just try to sprinkle them into any body of water around Walt Disney World property. Mom, at one point, used to be a friendship boat captain at Walt Disney World, the little boats that go in and out of Epcot, but also go around Crescent Lake and over to Swan and Dolphin, Boardwalk, all the way down to Hollywood Studios and then back. So they were in the middle of doing a shift trade, or they were swapping out captains on the boat. And one captain, I think it was one of the younger girls, looks at it and she's like, what is this line? Like, it just looks like something hit the side of the boat and it's just this giant streak of this like grayish brown color. What is this? And Mom knew exactly what it was, I guess. And she's like, don't touch it. And because the girl was about to like take her finger and slide her finger through it to figure out what it was.
Ugh.
And and then they realized someone was trying to be sneaky and threw their remains of their loved one, right, out of the window of the friendship boat, because the friendship boat windows are open typically, right? And try to do it nonchalantly, like sprinkle them outside the window. But it was also, we have humidity. So it didn't just like fall out gracefully and they just like sunk into the water there of Crescent Lake. No, it got stuck to the entire side of the friendship boat and probably got into somebody's mouth, because this was at the middle front of the boat. And then it goes trickling all the way down the side of the boat towards the back. So, not only are they inhaling diesel fuel fumes, they're also inhaling grandma at the same time.
Gross.
That's unfortunate.
And so all they could do was call custodial, and the only thing they could do is like take gloves, and they took these rags, like these nasty rags, and they just wipe off grandma and throw it into a hazmat bag and call it a day and put the boat back into rotation.
Yeah, I think most people do not realize that when you dispose of someone's remains at Disney, it is very likely that they will not remain at Disney.
They go into the trash.
In the trash somewhere.
So
maybe find a better place to do that than Disney World.
Yes.
So unfortunate.
Yeah.
So unfortunate.
Well, I think we've really tackled a lot of ghosts here, but I think we should hit our last one.
Yes.
Which is the man himself.
Are you saying Walt Disney?
Walt Disney
Either,
himself.
So this is definitely a Disneyland specific thing. And we do know how much Disney loved Disneyland and how he had his apartment there. And there's some really good ghost stories of supposedly people sensing Walt Disney's presence around Disneyland, right? Do you have some of these stories ready, Clarence?
I'm pulling some of them up, but if y'all want to...
Yeah, I've heard that he has been seen in places that he, were some of his favorite spots. I've heard actually in Disneyland as well that he's been seen around like Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln. Was a spot he's been known to be seen at around Cinderella's castle. One common, kind of sign of Walt's ghostly appearance is the smell of cigarettes. Sometimes there will be spots where are not traditional smoking spots, I guess, or whatever, but there'll be the smell of cigarettes where he was known to, backstage maybe smoke or something like that, kind of in between whatever he was doing throughout the day. So yes, the ghost of Walt has been seen around Disney, in Disneyland and in Disney World in multiple places, kind of multiple versions of it, but nothing malicious at all. I mean, it's always just kind of, oh yeah, there's Walt, kind of. I was sure
He's
I
just
saw
checking
Walt,
it out.
just waving or smiling or whatever. It's not really a malicious haunting in any way. So,
yeah, I will say the sightings of Walt at Great Moments of Mr. Lincoln, it's actually Tom Hanks.
Who's not dead.
He's not dead!
Yeah, it's a Tom Hanks animatronic that you're seeing, actually. It's not Walt. Sorry. There is a story, though, about the lamp in the window of the firehouse where Walt's apartment was. So the origin for why it is always lit now. Apparently, after Walt's death, a woman from maintenance was cleaning the apartment and noticed the lamp was lit. She turned it off and left, only to see that when she was outside, it was back on. So she did what anyone else would do, which is not something I would do. I would have just been like, it's on, whatever, I'm leaving. She did go back inside and turn the lamp off again. When she left and looked through the window, it was relit. So she went back again and turned it off. Only this time, she didn't leave the apartment. And the lamp turned itself back on right in front of her. Nobody has tried to turn the lamp off since. It is left burning to symbolize Walt Disney's presence in his beloved Disneyland. And to this day, cast members report footsteps and knocking coming from the fire station apartment, especially at night. So that's the lore around the
Right.
lamp. Now, whether or not that's true,
we do know other stories of, like, supposedly the lamp would be turned on to represent that a member of the Disney family was present in the park, right? And this also continued past Walt Disney's passing, and so any member of, like, either his daughters, Roy E. Disney, if they were present in the park, like, the lamp would be on to represent them. But I don't know. I had heard that version of the story too. I don't know how accurate that is, though.
Yeah, I don't know how accurate it is, but if
It does make for a cool
has-
story.
It does. I think it's fun. It's fun to think that Walt is still there in his park, being spooky, riding.
Well, if he was
rides,
anywhere, it would be there. You know,
watching himself portrayed in animatronic form.
It's like the Buzz Lightyear line. Am I really that fat?
Exactly. Yep. But I think that's a good place to call it for this episode.
I think that's good too.
Yeah. Do we have anything we want to plug before we sign off?
We have officially made the announcement. If you've been listening to the podcast, you are already well aware that Ian and I have been working on the Epcot book, but we did make the official announcement on social media, and everybody and their brother now knows that Epcot, I Love Epcot, is releasing on January 6th. So we're so excited for that. And I just want to go ahead and say, y'all are, like, really cool, because the pre-sales alone, you guys have already gone into wherever you guys buy your books from, and all of a sudden the little, like, chart numbers, even though it isn't even for sale yet and it's still 3 months out, it's already, like, pushing up slowly, and it's already in, like, the top 10, or actually it was top 30. I think it's in the top 10 now for best-selling books, and it's not even out yet. Wow. And I'm just like, my fans and followers are, like, so cool. And we've already been getting a lot of requests. It's so funny, Ian. We've been getting, like, there's been comments of, like, do a proper book tour. I don't know. I think we've talked about this actually in a previous episode. When Ian and I go out, and we went to Chicago, we went to Tennessee, all this other stuff, the publisher is not covering anything. It is all coming out of the pocket of me and Ian figuring out how to get there. And it's our time. It's everything to be able to make that happen and make it feasible. So the reason why we pick certain cities and make it happen is either because we got a really good deal, or we were able to cover flights for something. We had, like, vouchers to be able to use up to be able to make it work. So
band your friends together. Tell us how many books you're going to buy if we come. That can be very persuasive and getting us there, because if we know we can cover our costs, it's easy to make the excuse out there. Tell us your hotel manager connections to get us complimentary stays and stuff. All these things can help us make an appearance at your hometown if that is what you desire. But yes, we have the book coming out, which is very exciting. Pre-orders now. We also have a Patreon for Danielle that is live with many tiers with many goodies for each of those tiers, and you can get access to bonus bits and pieces from these recordings over there on Patreon as well too. So please subscribe to whatever tier is most appropriate for you there. And as always, tell other people about this podcast. Tell other people that they need to be listening to their ghost stories here on the Dapper Danielle Show. And anything else they might be interested in. Leave a review, listen to us, like, subscribe. If you're on YouTube, subscribe there. If you're on Spotify, you can leave reviews there now. Everywhere you're at, follow us. Just share us. Make us the next big podcast.
And we do really appreciate it. Again, you can also send your cast member stories to podcast@thedapperdanielle.com, and we are going through and reading those, which thank you so much. We're looking for the happy and the not so great ones. We're going to try to be discreet about those too. And as we're getting closer to like November, December, I mentioned this in the last episode, send in those holly jolly ones. That way we have some really great stories to read in the month of November and December.
Yes, and speaking of Patreon,
Yes.
there was another Tier 3 subscriber that we need to shout out.
There was, yes. Miss Kayla. Miss Kayla has joined the Refresher family, and so a big shout out to her. But yes, thank you so much, Kayla, for joining the Refresher family. We truly do appreciate it. We are working on a bonus episode that's going to be posted to the Patreon family, exclusive to them. That information is going to be up a little bit later here in a week or so. Actually, it might be up at the same time that this episode's going up. So more to come.
Yep.
All right. Well, anything else to add? I think that just about wraps it up. We talked about some great ghost stories. We talked about some great things that are coming up and happening. More information, some new fun side quests are going to be happening here in the month of November and December for all three of us, actually. And we'll be talking about that here in future episodes. So thank you again for following along. Stay tuned. And until next time, night-night, sleep tight, dream of churros tonight. Thank you.